Hey, good afternoon. It's Sarah again. I'm back with you this Sunday on Summits with a Purpose in conversation with Remy Kloos. Is that how I pronounce the name?
Yes, Kloos, more like Lewis. So it's Kloos, but almost perfect.
Okay, Remy Kloos. Yeah, so thank you everybody for joining in, and those that are going to watch this thereafter. Remy is an amazing young lady that, I first met online and subsequently went and met with her in Cape Town, and she shared with me her ambitious plans to become the first African woman, the youngest African woman to summit the 7 highest peaks on 7 continents. And she's on her way. She'll tell us all about the ones that she's done, all her plans, and a little bit more about the work that she is doing. So Remy, welcome. Please introduce yourself to my viewers and people that are following your journey.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me. I wish this could be face-to-face, but the world had other plans for us. But this is also a beautiful platform to communicate with everyone over the world. So thank you for having me. That's a heavy loaded question. Who is Remy? I don't think I still know who I am, sorry. But basically, I'm so many things, this mountaineering and kind of took me by surprise, and I have owned it now completely, and it's a huge part of who I am. But I think, there are various things that make me who I am, and mountaineering is just one of those things. But I'm also into sustainability. That's what I do as well in the built environment. I'm a very free-spirited person, and I really believe I've been put on this planet to make a difference. I think we share that sentiment. So, I'm excited to chat with you today.
Fantastic, Remy. How did you get into mountaineering and adventure? I mean, how people don't just wake up unless you did. but tell us about your journey into mountaineering to say, yeah, this is something I want to do, and this is something that I'm passionate about.
So adventure was always quite a big part of my life growing up. My parents did instill that in me at a young age. I was always that little child running off into the forest, trying to be on my own mission. I think growing up, and I maybe lost a little bit of it along the way. I dealt with a lot of depression as a late teenager and anxiety throughout my adult years. So I'm a huge advocate for everything mental health. I've been through some very dark places, and I know anyone who's been there as well just knows it's this very suffocating kind of feeling, and almost like, I know for me, anxiety was like this crippling conductor in my life and dictating my moods, my emotions. And I was like, this is not who I am, but it's very difficult to explain. And then eventually towards the end of 2016, I reached an all-time low in my life, and I knew I was responsible for my own happiness, and it just was 2 ways this could go. And there was no ways I was going back to that dark, dark place. So I was like, okay, I need a challenge. I need to put life into perspective. I need to remind myself what I'm capable of. And this is, before this time, I'd maybe climbed Lion's Head maybe a few times. I was living in Johannesburg for 4 or 5 years at the time. But I was like, I'm going to climb Kilimanjaro. That's what I want to do. So, I took myself to Tanzania and joined a group. And a few months later, I was standing on the roof of Africa. And I'm sure you share the same kind of feeling. There's just nothing quite like the summit of Ururu Peak. It is incredible. And just standing up there, we had foul conditions, but just standing up there, I was just fueled with this electric energy. And I knew from that moment that I had this powerful connection to the mountains and to something so much bigger for me than me. And that's when my journey started. Towards the end of 2016, only that recently.
That is an amazing story, and thank you for sharing that. Has it helped you in terms of your recovery process, or is there a time where you see that climbing is beyond just about you and fixing you. Is there a process like that?
Yeah, people often ask me because with anxiety, one wants everything so. And if you break out of that routine and that comfort zone, then the anxiety flares up. And so this seems counterintuitive, but the only way, really, I believe, to fully try and recover from anxiety is to place yourself in situations where it's going to actually flare up. You get through it, and then you realize, holy shit, sorry for swearing. You're like, I am capable of this. I can do this. And then you start empowering yourself through achieving all these incredible goals step by step. Look, I'm not saying go from 0 to hero all in like a space of like a day, but by climbing Kili, by doing those adventures in between, and then all solo as well, I realized what I was capable of and what I could achieve. So now mountaineering has actually become my biggest classroom for learning. Above anything else, I'm sure you feel the same. Everyone who's an avid mountaineer that I've spoken to, we have this deep connection from day one because we share these deep-seated beliefs on like why we love to climb. And for me, no other sport can give you what high altitude mountaineering can give you. It teaches you persistence, resilience, patience, leadership, teamwork, endurance, all of these skills in one environment. And again, what I love about high altitude mountaineering is it teaches you the power of your presence, because you can't think about, oh, I want to get to Camp 3 in a week's time, because that's not going to get you there. You need to think about placing one step in front of the other. And I think you've got that awesome hashtag, Sarah, keep stepping. And it's exactly that. It's exactly. So now how can we take that power of our presence that we embody on the mountain and bring that back to our daily lives? Because that's when the anxiety really actually comes more. It's like when the world is spinning around us and we have all these things coming at us, and then we actually need to just calm and bring that presence that we have on the mountain, but bring it back to our busy lives here in the real world, which is a bit overrated. So yes, it has helped me a lot with my mental health, for sure.
I couldn't have put it better. So let's go back to the 7 summits. How many of them have you done? And walk us through the journey from when you started to now. You've talked about Uhuru, and then what?
Yes. So I've done 4 at the moment. And again, last year, there's always something that this. There's always, you have a plan, but you should never stick to or never be committed to sticking to that plan, because the mountains always have another plan for you. So I was meant to do my 5th this time last year, but civil unrest in Papua New Guinea. I know you experienced the same thing. We're hoping to climb together with Papua New Guinea, Carson's Pyramid. But just backtracking a bit. So again, like, this was never a 7 summits dream for me from day one. I climbed Kili and I realized, wow, this was, great experience for me. I didn't suffer from altitude sickness. I managed relatively easily, and I feel like that's when the mountain bug really hit me. And then I went on a sabbatical and I did a little bit of solo travel, and then I climbed Elbrus, and I was like, let me see where this is going now. And I think then after Aconcagua, then I knew I want to do the 7 summits. But again, I want to just express such a powerful message here that I really believe in, is that a lot of the time when we see people achieving these great feats, for lack of a better definition, we think that they've been doing this, or they've dreamed this their whole life, or they've been training their whole life, But it is really never too late to come up with our crazy bold dreams and even come up with these dreams, because this has been a part of my life for 3.5 years now, and and I'm going with it. This makes me feel so alive, and I think that's a powerful takeaways that we must never stop dreaming and never stop believing in our capabilities, because as soon as we get stuck in our comfort zones, that's when we stop growing. So that's a bit of a backstory into how my 7 Summits journey evolved rapidly.
Wow. Yeah, rapidly, of course. That's very interesting because it's not necessarily a cheap sport. How have you been funding it? Do you also try and get sponsors? How do you see it working? If so, what tips can you share with others that would like to do the same? But before you do that, let me just acknowledge some of the people that are listening to us. Hi, Louise. Thank you so much for your support. Toby, I don't know if you, Nontu, you met on, I think, Table Mountain.
On the mountain. Hi, Nontu and Louis. I love so much love for you, Louis. He's a great mentor of mine as well.
Yeah. Okay. So, to us, how do you go about finding sponsorship, if you do, or how do you fund an expensive sport such as, mountaineering? Because it's not just about the mountain; it's about the equipment, it's about the training before the climb. It's about the time that you need to be away from home.
Yeah, well, luckily, I have no kids and no dependents, should I say. So all the finances I have can be used for my passions at the moment. So it was quite what happened, luckily, that the most expensive mountains are yet to come, as you know, Everest and Vinson. All of the others are relatively manageable in terms of expenses. So I was in corporate for 6-7 years, had a really good job, and I saved a lot of money, and so I've self-funded the majority of my climbs to date, and I have got a couple sponsors in the pipeline for the ones coming up. But I wish there was some great formula and magic piece of advice that I could give to anyone with regards to sponsorship. It is one of the hardest things I've ever had to try do in my whole life. Conversation after conversation. But I think the best piece of advice is obviously just to keep going, keep trying, keep reaching out. If you connect with people from a place of authenticity and a place of wanting to make a difference and wanting to make an impact and wanting to align your sponsor's vision with your vision, then you will get that sponsor. Try not let money be the driver behind it. Try let the aforementioned things drive you to get that sponsor. So I'm still looking for sponsors, Sarah. You know what it's like. It's crazy. It's crazy. I know with all your previous Everest expeditions, it was hard.
Yeah.
But what I have managed to do, and something that I'm probably the most proud of through my climbing, is from my Elbrus climb, I created a campaign called Just Climb, and it was all for a charity up in Joburg, because I used to volunteer there when I was living there, called Lala Nje, and I've currently raised about 500,000 that's gone towards the development of their children's community center, as well as various different developments there. So that has been something I've been super, super proud of. So in terms of trying, I have experience to reaching out to corporates, but it's always been for my charity. So it's a different game now when you need the money for yourself. But I'm working at it.
Thank you for sharing that. So of the 4 that you've managed to summit, what was the most difficult? What was the most memorable? And which one would you do again?
I love this question. So obviously, when it comes to difficulty, Denali is by far the most difficult climb. In Alaska, it's completely unsupported, and you're carrying about 25-30 kgs on your back. You're pulling a sled with an additional 25 kgs. The weather itself up to negative 40 degrees Celsius, all of those elements. But But, by the time I was at the level where I climbed Denali, had gained a lot of experience and I was super fit. So I want to answer this question by saying each mountain has its difficulties. Each mountain has its challenges. And I think that that's the takeaway from it. There's not necessarily, yes, on paper, Denali is by far the hardest. And I have to say, it did also challenge me physically the most, even though I was the fittest compared to all the other mountains. But each mountain has its challenge. So never go into a mountain and just thinking, oh, it's Kilimanjaro, lots of people climb it, that it's going to be easy. There's always, just be prepared for challenges with each mountain for sure. And then what? Most memorable? No, how can you ask me a question like that? They've all been so memorable. I mean, Kilimanjaro being my first experience to high altitude mountaineering, that made that super. So I was standing on the roof of Africa on New Year's Day on the 1st of January 2017. I think that was a super empowering feeling. Elbrus, going to Russia. I mean, like climbing with Russians. That was like such a gnarly experience. I love that. They're running around in their underwear and snow, drinking their vodka. So it's like, where am I? That was great. And I also had a friend join me unexpectedly for that Elbrus climb, which is just testament to what I met him climbing in the Himalayas, and he realized I was doing Elbrus, so he reached out to me. A young kid, he climbed with his dad in the Himalayas. He's like, "Oh, Remy, I see you climbing Mount Elbrus. Can I join?" I'm like, "Sure, dude. Here are the details. Come book and join." So that was unexpected. That was beautiful about that, which made that climb so memorable. And then Aconcagua, without a doubt, it's the first time I climbed. Oh, I'm even wearing their t-shirt, climbing the 7 summits. Sorry, I just came back from a mountain bike ride. That's why I just threw on whatever I could find. But climbing with my camel from climbing in the 7 summits was an experience like no other, because he managed to bring together this beautiful international team of climbers, some of which I call my best friends to date. After my Denali climb, I joined one of the girls, Sierra, in Canada afterwards, and we went hiking around Canada. And again, just that family of Aconcagua, they are just so close to my heart. So that's what made Aconcagua so memorable for me. And then Denali, again, also met some amazing boys. They were all boys, all 11 of them, and then me. But they were just salt of the earth people. But I think what made Denali so memorable for me was just the reassurance that I am so capable and I can do this. I am capable. And I think that was probably the biggest takeaway for me for Denali. So that answers the memorable question. Which would I do again? All of them, for sure. All of them I would do again. No doubt about it. I know for Kilimanjaro, I have some younger teenage sisters, and I take them hiking and climbing all the time. And I'd love to take them up Kilimanjaro. Definitely. So that's without a doubt, I'll be back there. And then again, if I had a sponsor telling me to do them all again, I'd be like, I'm on it. I'll do it. So yeah.
I like that. How has COVID-19 and the lockdowns and what's happening, the unrest around the world, affected any of your plans, if at all? And how are you coping with that?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I know you know the answer to this question. So I was all geared up and ready to climb Everest in the climbing season, April and May. I'm sure most people know this, but I'll repeat it. Everest, there's a weather window of April to May where you can climb the mountain and summit the mountain, so obviously it's a yearly kind of occurrence. So 2 weeks before departure, we got told that we cannot climb due to COVID. So it was a very surreal experience months and months of preparation, and I'm having a dream so close, and then within a day so far away. It was kind of like, yeah, I can't even explain, but like my body was so weak, my mind was all blurry. I was just all day is that it was a very kind of weird feeling. Luckily, there was some comfort, I guess, in that everyone was going through this. It wasn't like I got injured and I couldn't go. So I managed to work through that kind of feeling pretty fast. I didn't linger. I'm also not someone to linger in things you can't control, It's like, how can we move forward? How can we pivot this into a learning, or how can we better from this, But I did. It was a grieving process for sure, without a doubt. It was a loss. But again, something I shared on my social media as well is it's like, this is the first time, I guess, that Everest gets to have a break. She gets this time for herself. And I mean, if I was Everest, I'd be like, hell yeah, this is amazing. But so yeah, I mean, you've got to kind of just think of it like that now, and now just move forward. We have to move forward,
Yeah, absolutely. You're right about that. So how do you train for these climbs?
Yes, that's also a great question. I think cross training is the best answer I can give you. You want to do specific training, so you want to be hiking very steep conditions with heavy backpacks. You want to focus on long distance. You want to focus on HIIT as well as strength training. I think a lot of people forget about the foundational kind of training that you need to do to ensure you have strong knees and strong calves and all of that. And I love to do yoga as well. I think it was great to flexibility to kind of calm the mind as well. Cycling, spinning, it's like everything. And also I'm quite unique in my approach. Is like, I know how much training I need to do in a week, and how many hours I need to do. But then every day I do allow myself a little bit of flexibility, and I like to be intuitive and connect and see what is my energy like today? What do I feel like? What's the weather like? I think fun is just such an important aspect to life for me. Fun, joy, it's one of my main values in life. And as soon as well, for me personally, if I have this rigid program and I have to do X on Monday, every Monday, it'll take that away. And I never want to lose that. So I think, this has worked for me up until now. And I hope to, I definitely will continue that way going forward with all my other climbs as well.
Okay. How do you actually choose the logistics company to go with? How do you decide this is a good company, I'm going to go with them? You talked about Mike Hammer, but it sounds like obviously you just looked up and picked up. I don't know, what advice would you give in terms of how you've approached it? What has worked? What hasn't worked?
Yeah, I've been very blessed that everything has worked. I think that if you can get someone that has had a personal experience with a guiding company, then get that recommendation. But going into Kili, I just did my own research and then went with a company, and it all worked out well. Elbrus, something kind of similar. But then as soon as it got like bigger, I think so yeah, then I found Mike Hamill climbing the 7 summits. I met up with a girl who had climbed with him before as well and climbed Everest. So I met up with her and then got her recommendation as well. And Louis had climbed with Mike before as well. So did my homework, had great reviews, and then eventually met Mike myself and climbed with him and loved it, and will be using him going forward. I know then for Denali, Mike doesn't specifically guide there. So then I spoke to him about who does he recommend. So it's all about that, working the network, speaking to people who've used different companies, and then making your own decision at the end of the day.
Okay, that's great advice. It's actually something that is important because it can make or break your climb, really, in many ways. So when you go climbing, what are the three main or three gear items that you pick, that you go with on any climb, whether it's Kili, Cabras, or Aconcagua, or even Denali? What are those three things that you go with religiously?
I love this question. I also could list a long list of things. That my gear is very, very, very close to my heart. I love it dearly, all of it, every single item. As you know, it's a very, very lengthy process when you pack for an expedition, because if you leave just one little thing behind, you could be screwed. So every piece is hugely valued, from a little stick of lip ice to, a negative 40-degree sleeping bag. They both actually are of equal importance. I'm sure you know that. I don't know if I could say that the same pieces are as important for each climb. I think it differs. But let me just go for my Denali climb, because that's very Arctic conditions, lots of snow. So for that climb, I would say my negative 40-degree sleeping bag. That was just a game changer. To be warm at night is absolutely paramount. And then I want to say I have this Patagonia sun hoodie. So it's this like really light long sleeve top with this little hood. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is how hot the daytime can get climbing Denali, Everest, that Lhotse face. You come back looking like a raccoon because you're just so burnt. The sun reflects off the snow, and the UV rays are much stronger up there because you're so much higher. And that's also why the lip ice is so important. Everyone comes back looking a bit like a raccoon from all the heat. So that sun hoodie adds an extra layer of protection. So it was really great. Poles. And poles would be my third answer. And that would be something you would take on every expedition. Coming down a mountain, poles save your knees, like without a doubt. Out a doubt. I know you don't take them up super high. In a Denali, we left our poles at Camp 3. Then you take your ice axe. But as soon as the terrain becomes really steep, you actually don't use the poles. But I'd say lower down, definitely Kilimanjaro, use it the whole way. Hiking around the Himalayas at lower altitude, poles are amazing. I'm sure you can agree with me there, Sarah.
Yeah, they do. They are helpful, the poles. But on Everest, you also leave them just before Lhotse face, Camp 2. You can't really. They become less useful, I should say. If I look at your climbs, and your ambition to be the youngest, why is it important to you, really? Or is it?
Yeah, I mean, like I said to you, it was never a goal of mine from day one. It evolved. But now it is something important to me. It is a goal I've set for myself and something I would love to see myself achieving. But more than that, Sarah, it's like, what have I learned along the way? That's kind of shaped me to be who I am today. And I think the thing that comes up for me the most is leaning into fear. Because if you told me this is what I was going to be doing, 3-4 years ago, I would be like, you're crazy. So, I think the lesson here is just to, let fear be that compass to guide us forward. And, don't let society tell you what you can and can't do. So push those rules that society, says, and push those boundaries, push those rules, and always just show up bringing your own unfiltered uniqueness, so we can all just create greater happiness and meaning and impact in the world. And I think that's what drives me. Yes, the goal is amazing, and it would just, it would really, really, I'd love to achieve it. That's why we always set goals in our lives, because that feeling of accomplishment that is like no other, for sure. But I think if we become too fixated on the end result, I don't think that's a very great place to play in from a mental point of view. If we can focus on what have we achieved to date and what impact are we going to make by achieving that goal and focus on that, then I think we'll more likely set ourselves up for success. So I've already hit some major curveballs. We all do, and I know this time has also affected your plans greatly. So, but again, like you've pivoted. Your coaching business is skyrocketed. You have done so many cool things in the past few months, and that all feeds into your greater vision of wanting to make an impact and wanting to make a difference. Yes, you are on track to do the Grand Slam, but you're focusing on all the things that will lead you there ultimately. And I think, soon enough, we'll both get there.
Absolutely. Let me just maybe focus on gender. Do you find, like me, it sounds like if I listen to your Denali story, you were the only girl in the team. Do you find that intimidating? Are you comfortable in there? Do you find certain teammates, judging you because of gender, or has it been smooth sailing throughout your journey to date?
So I'm actually someone who has a lot of guy friends, and so going into my Denali climb, I was quite excited to climb with dudes. Like, I enjoy their company. I can banter with them nicely as well. I was a little bit like, because it's such a physical climb, with carrying so much weight, I was a little like apprehensive. But I never let that consume me, because at the end of the day, you show up, you have the skills, you have the power, and you connect as a team, and then that's all that matters. I think I've been very blessed in the sense that every team I've climbed with, they don't see gender, they just see you as how much value can you add to the team dynamic, and that's what it comes to at the end of the day. Yes, sometimes you'll have a strong climber that has a really weak day, or someone gets sick, or that doesn't then mean that you're less capable. Everyone, expeditions are so long, you're likely to have days where you're not as strong as other days. But once you step onto the mountain, I feel like gender is just not really seen in my experience. I know others have had different experiences for sure. And I have been on some climbs where the split has been almost 50-50. Not quite, but as soon as, with the Denali climb, because it's so physical, I think that when I was also climbing, I think I only saw about 3 other women out there. There was 1 or 2 women guides which I met, which I was like really stoked about. Other than that, 2 other women climbers. So yeah, that Denali was a different ball game. What was it like for you on Everest? Actually, I've never asked you that. Did you see about a 50-50 split?
No, definitely not a 50-50, but I must say, if I look at 2014, 2015, and compare it to 2019, there was a lot more female representation in 2019 before. So there is a lot more women, coming into the sport, definitely. Yeah. And at the same time, you do find males that are comfortable with a female on the team, and others not. They can be condescending, but it's like in real life. You find people that can be jerks and people that are not. So it's this. I think the important thing is staying in your truth and remaining your authentic self and putting your bit to make sure the team succeed. Yeah.
Exactly. And also that's what, just leading back to my goal of wanting to be the youngest African, is also like, to break down those gender stereotypes of being like, no, I don't just want to be the youngest female. I want to be the youngest African, because, women are badass. We are equally strong mentally, physically. And so that's also an underlying kind of driver behind me wanting to achieve that goal. So yes, I mean, back to what you're saying.
There is a campaign that I'm involved in. I'm saying I'm absolutely loving it. There's a campaign that I'm involved in which says she owns her success. It's about allowing women to own and accept and share their successes unapologetically. And I think that's what it's about. So really,
what supporting one another, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And allowing each other to claim our own successes. So what advice, I know you're still pretty young, but what advice would you give a younger Remy or other younger people like you that would like to, go for their dreams, whatever that is?
Yeah, I really like that. I like that question a lot because you know, I, I often take time to reflect and think back about like my journey as a child and kind of my teenage years and everything and where I am today. And I think the biggest piece of advice is kind of a lot of what I've covered already about leaning into fear and not allowing your comfort zone to feel like you're protected or feel like you've got things in control because you really, really don't. So letting fear being that guiding star and chase it. And I think I would say, everyone or should have their summits, and we must never think that we are not worthy or that we are not capable. And I think failure is part of the journey, and we learn so much through failure. That's how we grow and we learn. And so, I think that's a big thing that I would really, really tell a younger self was like, don't be afraid of failing. Don't be afraid of being afraid. Just lean into it and you'll realize how capable you are.
Absolutely. Anyway, so we've come to almost the end of our time, but I would love to know what's next. I know COVID has kind of messed up a lot of the plans, but what's next on the agenda in Remy's world?
We don't know, Sarah, because we just taking one day at a time right now. One day at a time. And see, I just try have adventure in my life in micro adventures every now and again to keep that spirit alive. But obviously I would love to complete the remaining of my 7 summits and Everest April, May next year, and hopefully get other 2 in before then. But the others being, Carson's Pyramid, which we spoke about, and then Mount Vincent in Antarctica. Which I haven't spoken to you about that because I know you managed to ski to the South Pole, but you still love to do Vincent as well. So I'm sure you also just hoping to do it at the end of the year. That sees, for people who don't know, Vincent's climbing season is December, January. So yeah. I mean, I'm sure you're also really hoping to do that early next year. I'm assuming that would be great. So that's kind of the plan, but I mean, again, we don't know at this point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, thank you so much for taking the time, and I don't see any questions, just hellos from Montu and Louis, but this is really was a great chat catching up with you, Remy, and we wish you all the best with your journey, and don't be a stranger. I would love to have you back on this channel once you've done all the 7, and we would like to celebrate and allow you to own your success and celebrate with you in the process. Thank you, and thank you everybody for tuning in, and those that will listen thereafter. Much love, and keep stepping. Bye.
And thank you, Sarah.
Thanks.